Welcome to this new Addon Spotlight. In this Addon Spotlight, we're gonna look at the top 5 busiest airports in Sweden. The first one is Bromma, which is near to Stockholm, right? You can see the city over there, or at least some textures of the city. This airport is medium size, and we're looking at a community built version of the airport, which is, I would say, kind of cool, right? It has some updates and some fixes. If we compare it with, let's say, the more advanced, like Oslo, which we reviewed in a previous video, no, it's not that advanced, but at least it contains some realistic stuff. It fixes some issues which are in the original scenery of Flight Simulator 2020, so that's good. Here we can see the traffic tower, right? It's a traffic tower, really big one, I would say. It's at least from size and not that high, right? If you look at it, how high it is, it's not too high, but it's say it's pretty big compared to other traffic towers which are in Flight Simulator. Then we've got a lot of buildings here, including a lot of parking spots, as you can see. So those are not the hangars for the airports or aircrafts, I should say. There are some, let's say, some buildings for the aircrafts, like shown here. Also some smaller points here. If we go over to the other side, we can see some hangars here, especially this one. It's a bigger one, but again, it's not that big compared to other airports. It's for, I would say, these medium kind of aircrafts. And I do think that this airport is probably also mostly used for these kind of aircraft. So probably for regional flights, maybe some international flights. But I do expect maybe in EMEA or something, but not to the US or to other parts of the world. The runway is situated here, right? It has only one runway, but the runway is nicely detailed, all kind of nice signs which show clearly where you need to stop. The taxiway goes either to the terminal side, but there's also another side, and that's this one. But it stops here, so it's a little bit to expect this. I would say maybe it's a kind of, I would say, separate part of the airport. Maybe some parking spots I would expect, but if you look at the ground, right, there's really literally nothing about signs, so it's, I would say, pretty hard to figure out. Maybe I was thinking that, but that's just a guess. It was this was one of the old runways or something, because if you look here, you can see some green scenery. And you would expect that this part would continue here, but it's not, so I'm not sure what it is. So here ends this review of Bromma Airport. We're going to spot number 4. The airport at spot number 4 is again an airport close to Stockholm. It's called Skavsta Airport. It lays a little bit more to the south. That's why you also, if you look around, you can't see the city anymore. So where Bromma lays more to the west of the city, this one is, I would say, far to the south. It lays close to other cities, right? So you can see that. This one is a little bit bigger than Bromma, right? So it has 2 runways. You can see them here. But if you look at the terminal buildings, I would say they're a little bit smaller. So it looks like that they are also, or that this airport is also used for regional flights. You can see that the twin huller can be parked easily, so I do expect that you can also park a little bit larger aircrafts here, but not too large, of course. The traffic tower is relatively small compared to Bromma, right? You can see that this one is, I would say, smaller, but this one is also a community build, and this one has some more details than the Bromma, right? So let me try to go inside the traffic tower. Here you can see all kind of computers, right? They're all empty, but it's cool to see. So that's nice. If we go further down the line, we can see some of the buildings, including some hangars over here, right? It's for, let's say, small aircraft maintenance, as it looks like. Also really detailed, including cameras, I would say, boxes for electricity and other stuff. Some air vents here, and if you look at the air vents, right, let me go closer to it, you can see that they're really, let's say, really detailed, right? You can see the usage. The quality could be, let's say, a little bit better, but it's nice. Then we've got a large parking spot here for cars, and then we've got multiple buildings over here and also over here, right? So a lot of buildings here. This part, which we're now flying above, that's the main building of the airport. And that also brings us to the other side of the airport. You can see that there are no jetways, right? So it's a small airport where you probably need to enter the aircraft either walking to it or maybe using stairs, but it does look that it doesn't even have the stairs. Continuing on the other end, I can see again some garages, probably for some maybe there are some baggage being handled here. And then continuing here, we can see some special things. It looks like some military things, right? US Army. So it looks like this is also part of a military airport, which is nice. No jets or something around here, right? You can see a lot of garages on this airport and a lot of parking spots for smaller aircrafts. So there are enough parking spots, enough detail here. Also some other buildings here, really cool to see. Taxiway also pretty detailed, as you can see. For some reason there are two wind sacks here. Probably that's an error. Maybe it's due to the fact that there's one from the default flight simulator scenery and one from the say community build. You will find the community build or a link to it in the description of this video. So that's always nice. You can see some let's say marks here for the runway, and that's really cool, right? So a lot of detail being added. That's nice. Always like these community add-ons which have, I would say, a lot of detail, which gives some more insights or some more detail to the airport itself. Fun fact is that if you fly here, you can only see one wind sack, so that's the other one. So there are actually 1, 2, 3, a lot of them. Here ends this review of the airport on spot number 4. So let's see what's on spot number. On spot number 3 is Malmö Airport. So Malmö Airport, as you can see, is, I would say, it's bigger than the other ones. At least there's a lot of more spaces. So it looks like that this one is also used for international flights. Unfortunately, there's no community edition or community build for this one. So we need to do it with the default build, which is part of Flight Simulator 2020. The good thing is that this airport has been updated as part of World Update number X, because I can't remember the number anymore. I think it was 5 for the Nordics. So you can see some detailed, I would say, jetways here. The jetways which are used, I would say, almost on all the airports. Some nice parking spots and a traffic tower. The traffic tower itself doesn't include much, but that's, I would say, kind of normal. I'm wondering if they're going to make a change in the future to also have some more realistic, I would say, interior in those traffic towers, because that would be, I would say, pretty cool. Then if we go here, we can see some hangars and some buildings, right? There's the traffic tower. So other than that, we can see a lot of gray areas like here and also behind the traffic tower, which I would say, I'm not sure what they are used for. Probably for parking spots like this one. The thing which is surprising me a bit is that you can almost drive with your car on the I would say on the airport, right? Because there's no fences or something. Some other gates here, right? So it has, I would say, it looks like one big terminal, which is here. Let me turn the camera. With a few jetways, which allows you to even connect to an A320, which is cool. Then if we would look a little bit higher, we can see that this airport only has one runway, but it's pretty long. So that also explains why we see some bigger aircraft here. We can also see some smaller ones, like over here. So there's also room for the smaller aircraft to park, right? Probably when you park here with the aircraft, you need to exit the aircraft with the stairs. Then continuing the road downstairs, we will see an A320, which is in maintenance or something. It's a weird spot for an A320, but probably it's normal. And some big hangars, right, for maintenance, including some offices and then some other, let's say, hangars as it looked like. Although I do expect that this one is not really a hangar, because it looks like it doesn't have a door in it, or maybe the door is on the other side. So some cars being parked here. Not sure what this one is. Probably it's used for maintenance, but it's not very clear, to be honest. So nice airport. It lays pretty close to Malmo, right? So we're in the neighborhood of Malmo. You can't see the city from here. If you would hover around, you can't see it yet. So you probably need to take a train or a bus to the city itself. So this is the airport, which is on spot number 3 of the 5 busiest airports in Sweden. Let's have a look which one is at spot number 2. On spot number 2, there's Goteborg Landvetter Airport, and this one is a community add-on. The community add-on already exists for some time, but it has been recently updated with some new cool stuff. You can see that there's a really lot of detail here, right? If we would look at jetways, we can see that they're using the default jetways, but you can see clear signs which gate it is. If we look at all the signs on the runways and also the taxi ways, you can see a lot of details here. So that's, I would say, what I like, right? Let's see if we can go inside the terminal building. As mentioned already, in most cases, developers are not spending a lot of time on it. And it's the same with this one, right? You can see the, let's say, the content, but there's nothing like, I would say, chairs or something, or let's say, access to the gates is not, I would say, really modeled, but you can see this one, I would say, pretty clear, right? It looks almost like the ones at Oslo Gardermoen Airport, which also has been recently updated and reviewed in a previous video. You can see that some of the gates are from a different type. For example, this gate is a different type, right? Also has a different jetway. So this one is, I would say, it looks like that this part is more modern, while this part is maybe a little bit more legacy. But you can see there's also a lot of detail, including the numbers, nice stairs. Would be cool if you would also again go inside, right? But probably if we go inside, then there's not much. So let's have a look at there. No, right, so there's nothing in it. Continuing our trip, we see that we are in the center of this airport, right? So in the center, you can see some nice, I would say, small tower. I do expect that this is the, this might have been an old, say, traffic tower, because the real one, or probably the used one, is over here where my mouse pointer is. So continuing our trip, we can see that in this area we have the same jetways as the previous part, and then we're ending up at the cargo part, right? The SAS cargo part, including some other vendors, which you can see here. Really nice, including some trucks which are, I would say, loading or unloading their cargo. The cool thing is that you also can go inside here, so let's do that. Unfortunately, you can't go further in. Initially, when I reviewed this one, I was thinking, hey, you can go further in it, but it's only, I would say, one small piece where you can go in. It has multiple loading, I would say, docks, right, including multiple vendors, also some other vendors like TNT. Large other halls here, where they probably do a lot of things related to probably baggage loading. And then we've got another big center here, including some parking spots. These look like offices or something. So let's continue on the other end to see if we can find something else, because, for example, I was looking for some what is it, some hangars or something, parking spots. As you can see Scandic, right, hotel. So also a hotel is included in the at the airport. adjusting the corner a bit, and then here we've got the traffic tower, which is empty, right? So besides that, there are a lot of parking spots around the airport, as you can see. So this one is, I would say, a nice community add-on, right? It adds some details to the airport which were not part of the world update content. The airport is situated, I would say, not close to the city, as you can see, right? If you would look around you, you don't see any city. So probably there's some public transport which you need to take to go to the city of Stockholm. Now we discussed number 2. Let's see what's on spot number 1. On spot number 1, it's Arlanda Airport, also close to Stockholm. Probably this is one of the biggest airports, I would say, in Sweden. I can see a lot of detail here, right? And the good thing is that this is all part of the world update, so there's no, let's say, community add-on or no paid add-on which you need to install. So it has a few runways. This is just one of them, right? 19 left. If we would look, or if we would fly with a drone a little bit further, then we will find some other runways at the other parts of the airport, right? Including the one here. You can see it's a large airport, right? So I would say navigating might be challenging. This is runway 19 Romeo. And here we'll have a look at the central terminals, all the hangars, which you can see, and some smaller buildings. So let's have a look at this small building first. This small building is used by the fire department. So the fire department, including the fire trucks, right? That's really nice because this is, keep in mind, this is the default content. The jetways are, I'd say, painted different color than you might expect, right? They're completely red, so maybe it's for Norwegian or something. Just guessing. A lot of detail here, right? Baggage cars, including some, let's say, some signs here. So let's have a look if we can have a look at those signs. Whoop. So yes, we can look at those signs, including some nice information. And you can see that, I would say, this part is really detailed, right? So it looks really nice. So going into the air again, we can see that we can access the other part of the terminal, which is on the other end. You can see that the jetways being used are, say, contain some usage, right? So that's, say, looks pretty realistic. This one has the same, oh, wrong button again. Has the same part as you can see also at the other airports, right? That's what you see in the airports in the Nordics, is that they're using, I would say, this kind of building structure at their airports. And now we're going back to the aircraft. So let me increase the speed a bit, because the aircraft, as you can see, is completely separately parked from the airport. It also has a lake in between, right? So let me speed up, because we were at the terminal and that's where we want to continue our review. So I think we were here, right? So you can see that there are several other jetways. Again, a lot of usage is also being seen. And this is probably the more modern part. You can see different jetways. So I would say a little bit the traditional ones, which we also see in other airports in Flight Simulator 2020. Continuing our trip, we will go to this part of the airport, right? You can see it's also Arlanda Terminal number 2. Arlanda Terminal 2 also has all kind of modern jetways, including some other slots. So we have 2 terminals, and you can see that the signs are really clear. So that, I would say, those are the details which are really nice, right? You can see another aircraft standing over here. It's a Boeing, probably it's used for practicing or something. Maybe, just guessing, right? While we're here, right, you can see that they also spend time on, I would say, adding details for buildings around the airport. For example, this one, but we can also clearly see that there's probably a hotel or something. Yeah, it's Radisson, which is placed here. Parking spots, and here you can find some other stuff. It looks like this is an office building. Probably it's a maintenance building or something. It's not pretty clear. It has access to the airport itself, as you can see. So probably used for maintenance. Flying back to the main part of the airport, we can see that we have visited already both terminals, right? And this was one of the terminal, and the nice thing is that it's connected to the other one. Which is over here, right? So this is the Sky City, as they call it. Cool. And Sky City again is connected to the other terminal. So you can see that this airport is really big, right? If you've been there, you probably can confirm that it's really big. Here we can see the nice traffic tower. It's let's say really modern, right? And including some details, including too fast. Including some computers, right? If you look from here. Here also some nice buildings like several hotels which are added to the simulator. You can see the clear difference, the buildings which did get attention and the ones which get less attention. But that's kind of expected. Also a lot of parking spots here, and if we would continue our trip, then we probably will arrive here. And those are the maintenance buildings for SAS, right? You will see them at, let's say, most Nordic airports. Larger ones, and of course smaller ones. And then we will arrive at the parking spots for the cars which can be used to remove, I would say, dirt, or in case of Norway or Sweden, probably snow. The buses which can bring the passengers to the aircrafts. And a lot of detail here also. Continuing our trip, we can see another hangar from TUI Fly in this case, which also has, I would say, its own maintenance. Yeah, this one's used for maintenance, right? Because you can see the large doors here. So maintenance building on the airport. And then here we've got some smaller buildings, right? So I would say I'm pleasantly surprised by this airport, right? It has a lot of detail. It's even included in one of the world updates, so you don't need to pay something for it because you're getting it for free. If we look around, it's really nicely situated, right? A lot of green, a lot of water. Not as much water as we reviewed on the airports in Norway, but a lot of cool stuff. So here ends this video. In this video we looked at the 5 busiest airports in Sweden. 3 of them are available as community add-ons. 2 of them are already having a lot of details which they got as part of the world update for the Nordics, which was released a while ago. Again, here ends this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.